The Traxxas UDR is easily regarded as one of the best vehicles that Traxxas has ever produced, not only because of the functionality, but because of the scale realism of when driving the vehicle. The plan for today's video is I'm going to give you a full build breakdown of this truck as I have just refreshed it for the second time, then take it out, get some shots of it driving. There's a saying, if it's not broke, don't fix it, and I believe that is exactly what describes what Traxxas did with this vehicle. Originally released in 2018, over the past 7 years, there really hasn't been too many updates to this truck. There has been a couple livery changes, with the most recent coming this year in 2025, but other than that, not much has really changed with the truck. Everything they did 7 years ago really holds a testament to time, and these are still on the market and they're still selling really well. So let's go ahead, let's take a quick look at the vehicle. We'll take it out for a run. Starting off, what I did is I swapped out the rigid body for the Lofton body, which is the Fox livery. I ended up stripping all of the Fox stickers off of the truck, and I put a custom Black Rifle Coffee Company livery on top of it. While it might not seem like a huge change, it is one of those small things that does differentiate this truck from others out there right now. One of the things I did notice with the UDR is that the tires do seem to dry rot a little bit faster than other vehicles I have, so I swapped those out for the Proline Hyrax tires. Then sitting in the center of those is the Vitavon wheels. I did splurge, they are about $50 per wheel, but I have to say the machining quality is top notch and it's one of the best looking on the market. So let's take off the body and we'll check out underneath. If you too are in the market of doing a refresh with the UDR, I would highly consider stripping all the parts off of it and painting it. Now, some people do dye the cages, but personally I didn't go that route. I used a semi-gloss black paint and it stuck very well. I let it cure and it almost makes it look like it's powder coated on the roll cage. I absolutely love it. One of those very small things that you may not see, but once you do notice it, you can't go back. Now, getting into the upgrades of this vehicle specifically, the main thing I want to go over are the King shocks. There are companies out there that do make actual dual bypass shocks for this truck, but if you are on a budget like I was, I ended up just getting the aluminum King shock caps from Traxxas, and then I got some little stickers, I believe from AliExpress, shipped over, and I actually painted the springs, and I also painted these spring retainers. It's one of those things, again, that it may not seem very obvious when you look at it at a quick glance, but once you notice it, man, it really does set the truck apart. Now, since this truck is a scale realism driver for me instead of a basher, I did go all out with the aluminum upgrades. In the front, I have upper and lower aluminum control arms, front sway bars, steering links, and even the upgraded hardened steel center drive shaft for the front of the vehicle that is sold by Traxxas. My personal opinion is that the electronics in this thing are actually not that bad right out of the box. A lot of people replace them immediately when getting the truck, but I had mine for almost 5 years before I even touched them. And I'll say, once I got them out, I'll probably throw them into another vehicle. But since I already put so much time, money, and effort into this truck, I really wanted to take it to the absolute level I possibly could, so I installed a Hobbywing Max 8 combo. This went in very, very well, very easy to do, and it did give it a little bit more punch. Moving on to the rear of the vehicle, I do have my sand paddle tires mounted up for when I do go to the sand dunes. I even put in a little custom tire carrier, so that way it's a vertical mount instead of a horizontal mount in the rear. Again, one of those small things that just sets the truck apart. As for upgrades and blings in the rear of the vehicle, I have GPM upper shock mounts, and I have a rear stabilizer kit from GPM. And again, if there's something that you're going to do to this truck, make sure you guys do these front and rear sway bars from GPM. It really stiffens up the vehicle, and you don't get as much body roll at higher speeds. Fantastic, fantastic upgrade. Again, another component that I leave until its absolute end of its life is going to be axles. But in this scenario, since I put so much time, money, and effort into it, I thought I would go ahead and throw in a GPM aluminum rear axle housing. It does provide strength. I had no problems with the original plastic one. Some people have had some of the axle housing snap on them with the plastic ones, but I bashed it pretty hard as it was when I got it out of the box. Never had an issue, but I will say having the aluminum rear trailing arms and the aluminum axle housing, man, it really does make this thing look that much more real. As far as odds and ends go, I put new limit straps in the rear, and I also put the Traxxas beefed up rear links. This is one thing, again, I would recommend doing. The stock ones are pretty flimsy, and this is really going to help with strength and also stabilization of the rear of the vehicle. I was running a GPM aluminum rear fan mount for the stock can on the truck, but what I actually ended up doing was drilling a hole directly in the top of the center of the chassis and then putting in a 23,000 RPM fan directly blowing on top of it, just so that way I can have something to cool the motor down. Well guys, other than that, that's pretty much going to be it for the vehicle. If you guys have any questions or comments about this truck or about your truck specifically, please feel free to leave them in the comment section down below. I think that's enough talking. Let's go out and take it for a rip. Well, you can't really make this stuff up. When I was out filming B-roll, I tried to do a road gap jump and I had a pretty heavy crash. Didn't get it on camera, but I broke 2 of the parts I left stock and I did not replace with the aftermarket ones. So it looks like my front passenger CVD dog bone, and then also my steering assembly where the steering tie rod mounts to. So, but that's okay. I know that when you party hard, shit's gonna happen. So I'm gonna order some GPM ones, some upgraded ones, and then I'll throw in some footage of my last trip when I went to the sand dunes with this truck. And then stay tuned because I have another trip coming to the sand dunes where I'm gonna have a versus challenge between the UDR and the Funco sand car. So you guys are not gonna wanna miss that one.